Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition here at Well Read Magazine. So normally I do Annie Asks, but I decided for February to ask Mandy if we could have a special edition about Owen and Jeff. And she jumped right on it. It was very organic. It's really special edition Once Upon a Friendship because it's like storytelling. And they had each other at hello, which they truly did. They met coming to a beach. They met coming to one of my events, a beach party event. And they were like on opposite ends and they just were like, they became really good friends. And there was like 10 people in the room at the same time. And it was really cool watching their friendship blossom. You could tell they were friends. So I want to talk about for February is all about couples, but it's also about friendship. But it's usually about female friendship. So I wanted to discuss, you know, male friendship, men that are friends, and how they become friends and what makes them friends. So I just find it very interesting. You're both They do say that if you want to be friends, like if men want to be friends, a lot of times they have to be in the same exact industry. So what I found very interesting is that while you're also a little not, but you're a little not because you don't write the same genres and all of that at all. Very different genres. So I'm just wondering if you could tell me and everybody, what do you think makes a friendship begin? Um, and you just hit it off so well that then Owen joined because first the show was just the page to screen scoop was just you and I, Jeff. And then we added Owen because you guys were just so organically connected. It would be stupid, really, to not have him on the show because he was almost like the glue, right?
I've
Um
been called that before, and worse.
no, but like you really are. And you two are both so wonderful together as friends. And I really love that. I love watching it. I love seeing it. And that's why I always say, oh, you two should do a show together. And then I forgot that you did. I was like, they're really great communicators. They're great friends. And we know this happens a lot behind the scenes with people. A lot of people interview on these types of shows, but they don't remain friends. They don't respect, value, utterly, like Jeff would say the best accolades about you and you do the same for him. So I guess I'm trying to just get at, we all talk about friendship as girls like no problem. So I'm just wondering, what is it like for men?
Well, I can say about
Well,
my experience
Thank you.
talking over Jeff. That's what I'm basically. That's the basis of our friendship: talking over each other and not letting the other one speak. That's very important.
well, I
That's
just
kind of the rock we're built on, really. Yeah, that's about my experience of it. Yeah.
look. It's the same. It's the same cross gender. It's for me. It's admiration and respect. If I don't admire somebody, I don't know what I'm doing there, and I try and only hang out with. And that sounds really snobby, but anyway, I tell everybody, hang out with people you admire, because
That's
that's gonna it's gonna raise your game too. But
that's
also,
true.
if you're around, if you're in mud, you're going to get muddy. If you're in fresh air, your clothes are going to smell like fresh air. So, if you're around people who have qualities that you admire, you're probably taking on those qualities to be in rapport with them, and that's a good thing. It feels good. So, so what did I admire about him? He's a young dad. He's got young kids. He's using writing as a way to put food on the table, and he took the chances, and I did all that. I'm on the other end of that, but I did all that, and so I really respected that. Plus, he lives in a part of Pennsylvania that grew up very close to, so I was able to recommend Stromboli off camera to a good
Yes.
place.
You keep talking. My husband's knocking.
Okay, so plus now that Annie's not there, Owen gives me money, and
I do. Very, very small amount, but it's a lot to him.
It's enough.
You
Look,
know.
I moved to a larger place, and the rent is, and so
Yeah.
yes, I need money.
Pittance to me, but to you, it's a lot.
Yeah, I think the thing that also binds us is Annie. No kidding.
Oh, very much.
Because she brings out the part of you that wants to be nice and wants to be good. So we figured, we're doing this for you. So we only like each other because of you. If somebody else interviewed us, we'd probably
you weren't there, we'd be trounced. Yeah.
So I mean, but male friendships are don't get a lot of credit. It's usually just frat boys and bromances and talking about how did the playoffs go and all that stuff. And to tell you the truth, when guys are talking about sports and stuff like that, it is bonding. It's not emotionally raw revealing, but it's bonding. It's how they do it. But I have friends that we talk about stuff. We talk about when stuff hurts. We talk about what hurts. Stuff makes us happy. We talk about that. But it's not just, how did the Cowboys do?
Badly, thankfully.
Always, hopefully, I don't know why I picked the Cowboys, but we always hope that the Cowboys will do badly. And in fact, I hate the New York Giants, but there's only two things that I asked the Giants to do every year, and that was beat Dallas, and they wouldn't. So it made me hate them even more. So anyway, that right there.
I hate Dallas.
Male stuff went back and forth right now that women would just not even recognize, but we just, so there's that. But also, I have friends that women would be amazed to hear the stuff that we talk about because they don't think that we do. And Owen and I, off camera when we've had these, breaks and stuff, we've talked about stuff that probably is a little too private to share with, your whole audience and stuff. But, we were talking about the sales of our books, and, I'd be frank on both our behalf. We are both disappointed in the sales in our books. That's not an easy thing to say to anybody. We're supposed to go, no, that's doing great. Picking up this and that, loving it. No, I'm not happy with the sales of my book compared to what the potential I think of it was. And I know, and Owen, my favorite book of his is the one that isn't about Nazis. It doesn't mean that I don't like the Nazi ones, but this was Owen. Like, there was more Owen in that book.
There was.
It meant something to you, and I got to know you a little bit. And so to me, a personal story like that, but it also had action. It also had suspense. You didn't know what was going to happen. It had everything that the Nazi books had, except for this overwhelming death threat every minute. But to me, that should have been the bestseller. And so, I'm hanging him out to dry right now. But we both were sharing our disappointment about the sales as opposed to what we hope for them, and that is not a thing that guys generally feel safe doing with each other.
I think there's a vulnerability that I think there's a vulnerability that some men are a little bit reluctant to share, possibly. Like it's all, I think it's a good friend that you can reveal fears and vulnerabilities to. Like for instance, I had a conversation with one of my very best mates back home. He called me up because and we had a really, really frank conversation about life and being 46-year-old men with kids and all this and how difficult it can be and the pressures. And I told him a story I heard recently about a guy that I knew. I didn't know him well, and unfortunately my age and the pressures of being mid-40s and got to him, and he killed himself. He committed suicide just a few days ago. And
I'm so sorry.
I didn't know him well. He was an Irish guy. I met him, and I spoke to him like 5 times, but I spoke to him for about 20 minutes each time, all of the 5 times. You know what I mean? And it was really shocking. Yeah, in New York. Yeah, terrible. And so I think getting away from that depressing topic, I think it's, yeah, if you can talk to someone about vulnerabilities, and I wondered about him because being Irish, friendship is a really big part of our culture. Like I've heard this, I've seen statistics about American men in particular, right? And as being a foreigner coming to America, I have noticed American men might not be as into having friends as Irish men are, and our culture just is. Like we make my friend I was talking to an hour ago. I've known him since I was literally 3 years of age, and he was best man at my wedding. I was best man at his. Blah blah blah, and the culture we have and the closest, it's never really changed for like 20-25 years, and we've always had that. And we talk about when we're old men sitting around together with the group of guys, with the same people. And but you see statistics, and like 20% of American men don't have like any friends. I remember like seeing a stand-up on Saturday Night Live saying his father doesn't have any friends whatsoever, and like,
yeah,
it was really
there's a lot going around now about male loneliness.
Yeah,
stories, and it's a big thing. And you're not, if look, you're taught. I mean, this is a big cliche. You're taught don't cry. If you're hurt, you're supposed to shake it off. And so to admit that you're lonely is that's a tough one. You got to be careful.
Or that you're sad.
I think I don't know if women are this way, but I know men, going back to the original DNA and, competing for what we always thought were scarce resources and everything. It was that big commercial, never let them see you sweat. You're not allowed to let someone else know you've got a weakness, because they can exploit that against you. And that's just primal. That's just jungle shit. But we all have that in us. True. So, there's always a part that wants to be careful that, oh my gosh, if I show a weakness, well, they're just going to come in and steal my woman. It's like, or anything, just steal, you cannot show weakness. So you're not allowed to say, I'm not happy with the sales of my book. You're not allowed to say, I'm not happy with the publicist. You're not allowed to say I'm disappointed, and it hurts. I mean, I've spoken in front of groups, and, I'm speaking in front of the group rather than being in the audience because of, what I've been able to achieve and everything. But there's this myth that shit stops hurting once you've, broken through or had a hit or had success at any level, that shit just stops hurting. And I've had to stand there in front of, like, look, I still hear no from people. I hear still more than yes. And, yeah, shit hurts. And I would look at like 200 stunned faces. Like, how can anything hurt? You've had a hit movie. Stuff hurts. It does. And to be able to, I'm not interested in having the kind of friends that I can't say that to. I mean, I don't walk around leading with that stuff. I just talked to a guy that I've known since the first day of college, more than 50 years ago. And, we were doing a FaceTime, even though we talk, online and stuff, but it's been a long time since we've actually seen each other. And I made some crack. I've just gone through a divorce, and I made the typical crack about, how expensive it was and all that stuff. And then at just one point I said, but man, it sucked. And he just right away, he knew it. He goes, yeah, I know. But just to be able to say, you can say the jokes, you can say this, you can say that, but it sucks. And to be able to say that to a guy that we've been through incredible adventures together, incredible, foxhole moments where that was the only guy you could trust. And, a life, they're part of the tapestry of your life, these old friends. And Owen, the guy since he was 3, my 2 closest friends in the world I met one when I was 7, and one, I knew him before I knew it, because our mothers were best friends, and they used to push us around in strollers together. That's how long I've known him. And when shit gets hard, I don't talk about sports with them. So what makes it is a trust. I mean, the ability to trust another person, that they're not going to use what you just told them against you. That you're opening a window and saying, I don't want anything. I'm just going to open this window and trust that nothing from outside is going to crawl in. It takes a certain amount of trust, and we've also been betrayed.
correct.
You're right, though. You're right. That is a primeval instinct, isn't it? We're getting pretty deep here, but it's a primeval instinct of if you reveal any weakness, like don't show any weakness because it will be used against you. And I suppose what we're talking about is people we've known so long. We know they'd absolutely, to use a borrow phrase from Good Will Hunting, take a bat to someone else's head for us.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's from Good Will Hunting.
Well, that's the Irish. After a couple, then it's the battle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm Jewish. We just call our lawyer, but you guys got to go with it.
Well, whatever works.
I would like to point out that before you get into your primal mode, I do want to mention.
Take my shirt off, by the way.
Yeah.
I can see you've changed enough.
I have. I've changed.
Yeah, this is a podcast with
a
three
lot.
costume
You've
changes.
changed genres, everything. No, before you get into the primal part of the conversation, I do want to lighten the mood for just a second, because when I first met Owen, one of the things that I loved about in his bio was how, I did this because I wanted to meet a girl, and then I played rugby because I wanted to meet girls, but I wasn't good at it. So then I did this because I wanted to meet a girl, and I love like his raw honesty in the wanting to meet the girl, but also like, and I wasn't good at that, so then I did this, and I was, or whatever, or I didn't meet a girl, so then I did this. And now he has Jill and children, and he's an author and doing everything he loves, and it's just wonderful. And then
we all did it to meet girls. I mean,
yes, it's interesting.
Look, or if we're or boys, but we all, in our case, we did it to meet girls.
Boys. Yes, and I understand.
The thing is, the feathers that we had when I was growing up. If you wanted to be a hero, if you wanted to get women's attention, the only available, you could either be a sports hero or a war hero, a soldier, or I guess a hero of industry. You could have a big company or something. And then when the Beatles came and the music invasion, I went, oh my God, I can be a hero playing a guitar. And
we see.
And so those of us who didn't get into music, there were the arts. And so
I tried that, by the way. I tried the music.
So did I. I'm not any better than I was when I started in 11th grade.
I play drums.
So yeah, I mean, those are the feathers that we have. And every animal, look at any nature film, everything has a way of showing itself and getting noticed by the opposite sex. We can puff up our chest and do that throat thing, or the peacock feathers,
Oh, I'd like to try the throat thing.
Actually, so it'd be cool to kind of.
Jill, what do you think of this?
I got the
you
room.
too is so fun.
So
the jowls,
yeah, I got it's like space available. It's like to be built on, developed land.
That's what attracts us for sure.
So in that case, it's not so surprising. But yeah, almost anybody that got into the arts, look, they didn't do it to meet women if they weren't good at it. You had to have an affinity for it.
But I mean that he was so honest. I loved.
And he met a girl.
He was so honest.
The story to meet my wife's a big long one. That's for another time. It's a big long one.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Then just the last time we had a little interview chat, kind of went long, but it was everybody's favorite, by the way.
Good.
We found out that Jeff, he learned that the Empire State Building had been lit up, I think, in Yankee colors. Is that correct?
It was lit up blue and white. Right? It was lit up blue and white when the Yankees beat the Dodgers in 1977 or 78. And I happened to be in New York, and I was a Dodger fan. It made me really mad. And then later that same trip, it was Halloween, and it was lit up orange. And I got it in my head, wow, they can change the colors on that building according to what they want to do. That was in the 70s. So I don't know, 15 or so years later, from 78 to 1990, when I got the idea for Sleepless, I just went, you know what? I'm going to get them to light that thing up pink. And everybody's going to wonder, why is the Empire State Building pink? And the news shows, it's going to be instant publicity for a movie that was only shooting at that. So I had the whole thing lined up, and I was going to get them to line it up pink. And then in the script, I think what we were going to try and do is coordinate with the building to get them to light up just hearts, have enough windows light up to make the shape of a heart. And we were really close to getting permission to do that. But at the time, big blast from the patent. Leona Helmsley owned the Empire State Building, and I think she was in jail for something, and she wasn't going to give permission. So they did it on computer. It was, if you look at the movie now, it's the most, elementary form of computer and, getting that hard on that building. But this summer, when it was the 30th anniversary of the release of the movie, they did light up the Empire State Building pink, and they lit up the Space Needle, 30 years later. So
Space Needle too, cool.
Yeah, they had this thing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
We were going to celebrate it in both cities, and it's just like, oh my God, this is 30 years.
Yeah.
Did you go to one of them?
No, I didn't go to any of them.
No, he walked his dog. Make sure they didn't get eaten by coyotes.
Okay.
I'm too busy fighting them.
He's too busy throwing.
That's an event. That's an event.
That was an event, and it was a big deal.
Because,
it was in the newspapers, and whatever. It was like a media covered the thing, and it just blew me away, because when I said that, I guess I could have been in Kazakhstan or something, but when I wrote that movie, I couldn't have been further from the business, and I wasn't just starting at zero, I was starting behind zero, because I'd already failed publicly. So to have that be your comeback thing, a story that nobody was going to make because it's a love story where the people don't meet, and to go all the way from that to, they're going to meet, they're going to be on the last page. It's going to be on the Empire State Building, and I'm going to get to light that sucker up, and it all happened.
Cool. Creativity at its best.
I think it's so cool.
Listen, I sat there in an office in a little town in Virginia, and wearing socks with my feet up on the desk, writing these words, and just the pure belief that if I did this right, it was going to happen. And I just couldn't accept any other possibility. And, it wasn't just so much me. It's one of these things where this happened because the stars lined up so that it would. I was an instrument. I was like the first guy, but it took a lot more people after me. And I think that the things that come out that are really special are also that way. That the super special things that we remember are also in some way, divinely inspired. So I was able to be a piece of one of those. That's all.
Well, I think that's what's so wonderful, is that you both started with these seeds as authors, as screenwriters, which that's both writing, but as writers, let's say, with these seeds of why you wanted, what was the initial seed is so interesting. And to me, I feel that that's part of why your camaraderie was so good, because your seeds were very similar in different ways, obviously.
Yeah.
But they were similar, right? And so when you meet, it's almost serendipitous, right? Because you kind of whether you write different genres, screenwriter, author, whatever you're doing, it's all coming from a place of heart. And that's what I think is so important about it. And you both have really big hearts. You both really do. And it comes across how you want to teach people, you want to talk to people, you want to befriend people, be friends, but then organically together, you're just so magically delicious. That's the only way I could put it. And it's true. I get the notes about it. I get the messages. Jeff and Owen. Oh my God, Jeff and Owen. And together they're so wonderful, on screen. And you really are when you're talking together. So it's you have to understand, most of these book clubs are full of women. So for them to see two men be such great friends, because they can see it. You don't have to say, oh, we're good friends. And it doesn't mean you talk every day, you're best friends like that. It's just when you're together, your friendship shines. And I think that that's so cool. I love that about the two of you. And so back to the cavemen part of it, maybe it does all start with that. Maybe it does all start with that. But I really think it starts with,
I think it can be as deep or as shallow as you want to be about these things.
Yeah.
You can.
It could be just, exactly. It could be, we like each other. Big deal.
I interview Jeff and we get on well.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And then we do it again.
I'm trying to say it is a big deal, and that's why I want to celebrate it for February. I want to celebrate the two of you for showing what friendship could be like. Because when I went to look up what on earth questions could I bring up with Jeff and Owen in regards to this, what can I do to create a conversation? Do you know every article about men was how they have no friends and how men can find male friends and how they can be better male friends? And it was all articles like that.
Yeah, there is a bit of a rash of that going around at the moment. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I found it very shocking.
As a kid, I always had my friend, as one of those 50s kids who, you could just go out on your bike as long as you're home before dark. And I lived in a neighborhood where 90% of my friends were in the same 10 block by 4 block grid, and I could get to any of their houses. So like those two guys I told you about, I'm still friends with them. Those were who I rode bikes with every day. And, an ever growing circle, because it was a community. And so I've always had friends. I've always had both male and female friends. The whole Harry and Sally thing, I don't get it. I've got a ton of female friends that I'm not sleeping with, don't want to sleep with, never did. We're just, I don't get why this has to be such a big deal about it.
True.
But still a great movie. But some people, the shallow is okay, no big deal. But the on the other end of that, there are theories that we've known each other for 50 lifetimes. And,
True.
Those big things, you recognize somebody, or if it's love at first sight with someone else, it probably wasn't first sight. If it's a real thing, there are theories that we sort of go through every lifetime with the same crew.
Oh, I like that.
And we find the same kind of people in every incarnation that we have. And so Owen always, every form that Owen ever was, male, female, earthling, planetary, whatever.
Coyote.
We're there.
There was a Jeff, and there was a
a coyote.
My new spirit animal.
No, I'd be the wolf, and I'd give you the pea to keep away.
By popular demand, yes. What they don't know is that off camera we were talking about my adventures.
Yeah, you just leave a little bucket outside your house.
You're giving out secrets. You're terrible, Owen.
I should go get the gallon jug of granulated wolf urine that I have to
unbelievable
life, I'll be
now we know what to get you for Hanukkah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm going to take one of those World War II things from one of his books and get one of those things where you just sit there and
there you go.
Don't mess with my dog.
Shooting pea.
I'll take you out. Just
yeah. Oh my God.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Emerson College in Boston.
Oh.
Okay.
I learned how to make movies. I wasn't interested in a college education. I got it was the early 70s, and I got around a lot of the rules and just took nothing but film and TV courses from the very first day. And I didn't do the 2 years of taking all the bullshit you don't want to take so that you can take one elective when you're a junior. So I got a trade school education. I learned how to make movies and TV shows and stage plays.
Cool.
And
That's what Adam's doing.
I didn't learn literature. I did, all the stuff that writers, were supposed to learn. I did mythology, all the stuff that would have made me
mythology. That's
a better writer. Because I didn't know that I was going to do writing. I wanted to make physically make movies. I was going to be I got out of college and I was already a really working director of photography and lighting guy for movies in Boston. But I didn't want to make movies in Boston. I wanted to make them out here. So
well, I mean, you wouldn't want to, you would have been the other Gone Girl.
Well, I would have been freezing. I would have been swearing. I would have been filled with anger and hatred for the environment, and I would have been making documentaries and educational films. And there's just nothing wrong with those. But I didn't grow up on documentaries and education. I grew up on Hollywood movies, and that's where I saw that they made the most impact. So I wanted to make Hollywood movies, and they weren't making those in Boston. So I came out here at 22 to do that.
That's amazing.
And have you been living in Los Angeles since you were 22?
No, I lived when I was 27. I went back east for 1 year to get married, and that year turned into like 11. While I was back
that was
east,
in Pennsylvania, right?
Coming back and forth a lot. And then when I sold Sleepless, I was going back and forth so much that I could actually just say, you know what, I cannot. I mean, in 1 month I went 3 times from Dulles Airport to LAX, and I had 2 tiny little kids, and it's like I can never promise them you're coming home. I need to get daddy's going away, and it was terrible. I hated leaving them, and I come out to California, and I hated leaving California. So I figured, well, I can't bring the business to the East Coast, so I'm going to bring the family to the West. So I came back a second time, and that was exactly 30 years ago right now. So
okay.
Wow.
So I lived, in my 20s, and then I spent most of my 30s back east, and then commuting, and then boom, came out here 30 years ago, and that's it. I mean, Southern California, I don't want to be anywhere else. Never did. Really never did.
No, you're a California boy.
The stork knew that I was it dropped me off in Pennsylvania for some kind of training or foraging or whatever, but It was get the hell out. I'm not an East Coast kid.
Okay.
I mean, I am, but
I mean, you I think you do well at Martha's Vineyard area.
I did okay. Yeah, I had that place in Cape Cod, and I stayed there for 2 years during the pandemic.
Oh, that's what it was, Cape Cod. That was real.
It was great, but it was still putting on layer after layer after layer of clothing and swearing, and it was different that time because I wasn't going to school, I wasn't going to a job, I didn't have to get in the car and go anywhere. So that makes a big difference. But still, it was winter, and as gorgeous and raw and incredible as it was still cold. It was still, sticks instead of leaves on trees, and gray, and what it looks like today.
Is it weather alone or people too?
It's both. The East Coast people it's really intense. It's really aggressive. I have no problem with how laid back everything is out here. I mean, not so much anymore because so many people are out here from the East. But when you come from Boston and New York, where this was the 70s and things were not good. I mean, this is when Times Square was the way it was. Not
taxi driver.
Those were not good times, and in Boston or New York, and they were both really depressed, and they were both dangerous, and they were both just environmentally, snowing, raining, potholes, crap, traffic, and then you come out here, and there's, I mean, in the 70s, it was 20 minutes from Burbank to Marina Del Rey. It was nothing, and now it's 20 minutes to get to the next traffic light, but. It was great. I just wanted to know, I really was curious, how will it be different with just not being mad at the environment I'm in? take away the weather, take away the crowds, take away the attitudes. And I was fine with everybody out here going, have a nice day. I was fine with all the superficial, because back there it was like, fuck you, not my problem. That's what you got back east, not my problem. Fuck you. But I'll take have a nice day over that.
Yeah. And
it's just much more pleasant. And that's why I was always after a pleasant and comfortable place to live, if you can do it. Easy to go the superficial route, but the same, and I teach these classes. It's no matter where, what culture, whatever, no matter what time you lived in, what culture you're from, what your economic status is, we all, by the time we're 20 something years old, we all have already felt every emotion there is to feel. And we've all felt betrayed. We've all felt disappointed. We've all felt overjoyed. We've all felt fulfilled to some degree. We've all felt lonely. We've all felt sad. And the architecture for all those feelings is exactly the same. The intensity isn't the same. What I might consider a betrayal, if I gave you the biggest betrayal ever happened to me, that might not be the same as a betrayal that happened to somebody in government, or two bandmates, Hall and Oates are suing each other kind of thing. And it might not be the same as a betrayal of a high school kid who thought they had a ride somewhere and got ditched. But it's betrayal, no matter what the degree was. We all have that. We all have every emotion in us. So it's just, there's an immediate affinity with everybody when you know that. So, East Coast, West Coast, Kazakhstan, Tokyo, Vietnam, San Diego,
Ireland,
Dublin, we're all trying not to get disappointed. We're all trying not to, we're all trying to get through the same way, and the same buffet table of emotions that's available to one of us is available to all of us. And everything else,
yes.
Clean sheets, stuff like that, comfort. And so, here, today was a rainy, shitty, cold winter day. And that meant putting on a pair of sweatpants and like a hoodie and a jacket over the hoodie to walk the dog. That's it. I think of what the layers of stuff I had to put on, those 2 winters in Cape Cod. I think I counted 17 things that I had to put on just to go outside for 20 minutes. And,
oh yeah, that's so true though, right?
You were in Antarctica in like 1912.
No,
you sound like you're on the
it's like, it's not socks. Socks aren't one thing. The socks are 2 things. So we had 4 socks, 2 sets of gloves, the scarf, 2 hats. It was just incredible. It's like, it took me longer.
Remember you used to put the Wonder Bread?
Right. It took longer to get. It took longer to get ready to go outside than it took to be outside. And,
yes. And like when I'm going out after my kids and I have to like put boots on and blah, 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 I'm like, I just want to go out for 5 seconds, because that's the way it is here at the moment, because it's like 23 degrees. Snow.
Oh yeah.
Kids were only in school 1 day last week. 1 day out of 5.
It's so cold.
Well, the Monday was a holiday. And then Tuesday they were out, Wednesday they were out, Thursday they were in, and then Friday they were out again. It was like, oh my God. And it was really cold. So like they go out and play in the snow, but then 15 minutes later they come back in and it'd be all messy, It's like, so this is kind of playing into what you're saying here, Jeff. But but like where I come from, these conditions don't exist. We just had, we just had our nice rain, that's all.
Yeah, I mean,
you were in Ireland.
My original little kids, it was Virginia, and we had to do all the bundling up, and the summer was just so humid and everything. And then when I moved out here, my daughter was 8 and my son was 4, and he doesn't have any memory of back
Virginia.
With him, it was just
I didn't know that.
Walk around in shorts and a t-shirt, and that's life, and that's what he thinks, and that is what life is. Why the hell do you need to put on all this? So anyway, this has a lot to do with writing, has a lot to do with friendship.
yeah. We're talking about weather.
I want to say, since we were talking about male friendship, I was there was some French TV crew, and
yeah, I'm like, we are really talking about friendship here. This is great.
And so they got a bunch of, they came to LA. They must have had some kind of grant or something. This French TV crew came to LA, and they're interviewing people about love stories and romance. And so they interviewed me, and they said, "What was your favorite love scene?" And I said the last scene in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is one of the most amazing love scenes I've ever seen, and it's between two heterosexual men. But that scene where they're talking about they keep cutting to how many people, how many armies, and how many thousands and thousands of people are out there just waiting to take a shot at them the minute they show up. And they're in there and they're reloading and they're wounded, and Redford's putting on his glove and they're talking about their plans for the next thing they're going to do. Australia, and I knew you didn't want to hear about it, but I thought secretly you did. And they start talking about Australia. And first of all,
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's great film.
First of all, it's a lesson in subtext like you can't believe, because they're not talking.
I must see it. I must see it.
They're not talking about Australia. They're saying, "I love you. It's been a great ride together. I wouldn't have it any other way. We are about to die."
Yeah.
They never say we're about to die. They never admit that they're about to die. They know they're about to die. They know how many people are out there. There's no way out of this. Their lives have led to this point. And it's one of the most beautiful, tender, funny, still very masculine, but the feminine side of masculine, because the way Newman and Redford pull it off, and they are pretty much a bickering couple through the whole thing. That's what William Goldman did that was different. He had a bickering couple, but it was two guys, and they just bicker through the whole movie, through the whole story. And everything's always got to be perfect with you, and all that's, all these lines. But to me, that was one of the most memorable and incredible love scenes in all of film. And it was just two guys saying goodbye. They knew they're going to die in a minute. It was like suicide by South American.
Yeah, they go to Bolivia. The entire Bolivian army comes out.
Dos Yankees, dos, solamente dos. They kept saying there's only two people, and they had rooftops. It was the entire Bolivian army and police had gathered in this one place to wipe out these two guys. And
do they die?
Well,
we don't give away the ending, Danny.
You gotta watch the movie. You gotta see Butch Cassidy.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
But anyway, there's no better expression of male love than, first of all, that movie, but also that final scene. And because here they are, they can't say it. Two women might say, it's been such a, I love you so much and it's been great, and I wouldn't, now that we're gonna die. But guys wouldn't say that,
Did you see on HBO The Last of Us? Did you see that show that was just on the
No, I haven't. I keep hearing about it, but no.
But it's based on a video game. The Last of Us.
It's a video game.
Oh.
It's based on a video game, and they made it.
Old guy alert doesn't know this stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Oh no.
No, and it's set after like a zombie apocalypse and stuff. But it's actually, to me, it's a love story between a man and his surrogate daughter, because he loses his daughter at the start, and then he has to take on this other little girl to bring her across the country in order to get all these adventures. And then he grows, they grow to love each other at the end, and at the end they love each other. So to me, that was a fantastic love story in a different way. Much along the same lines as what Jeff was saying, except it was just from 2023. But it's a lot of bumps along the road, and season 2 is going to be rough. But that was a really beautiful love story, I thought.
So I'm trying to think of other movies that really did male friendship. For some reason, I just thought of North Dallas 40 with Mac Davis and Nick Nolte, the friendship they had. But or Band of Brothers, that whole series.
Band of Brothers.
That whole series. If you talk about male friendship and male love and loyalty, nothing like Soldiers for that. Band of Brothers was beautiful that way.
Yeah, Black Hawk Down was good for that too. At the end, they say you fight for the man beside you, and that's where we all do it.
Say it now.
I say you got a decent amount wrong.
So wrong that your dog won't even stay in the same room.
Exactly. That dog is like, no, sorry, Annie, no thanks.
I have to
There's a delivery.
Yeah, my kids are barking in the background.
All right, well, I'll let you guys go. Anyway, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm going to write a wonderful article about it, so I can't wait. Do you want to check it out before it's published? or can I just send it?
I trust you.
Okay.
I don't know. I think we ought to have editorial. We ought to give her the business. We ought to have some editorial.
All right, you can have
oversight.
editorial. The business. I'm making money off of this. Yeah. All right, I'll send it to you before I send it off.
Everybody
Okay.
do that while you're at it, do that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love such a pleasure, and happy Valentine's
Let's
Day
get
to
away.
everybody.
Get a Photoshop.
I'm going to be an
Yeah,
hour for
Photoshop.
Valentine's Day.
Okay. All right, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.